Hello and welcome to Actors 2020 podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Keatth, and today we have a very, very special young performer guest star. Her name is Lacey Caroline. Remember that name. You will be hearing a lot about Lacey Caroline over the next couple of years. She is a rising star. She is on her way. She has amazing parents. She's an amazing young woman, and I cannot wait to interview her. We're going to give Lacey a call, and we're going to talk to her, and we're going to talk to her mom. Let's see what they have to offer you. And here we go.
Hello, this is Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay, it's Johnny Keatth from Actors 2020 podcast. How are you?
Hey, good, Johnny. How are you?
I am amazing. So I've been doing a little research on your child, Lacey Caroline, and oh my God, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. The amazing little peanut is sitting right beside me here, and we're relaxing on a beautiful Sunday in North Carolina. So, yeah, she's a pretty cool kid.
Yeah, she's got quite the resume, because I receive hundreds and hundreds of submissions when I put this ad out, and two people stood out. There was one that I interviewed yesterday. You may have heard of her. Her name's Jordan Flippo. She's in the 14 to the 25 category, going to college now. And Lacey Caroline. Both of them, not only the pictures that are so professional popped out, the pictures kind of says it all, and that's the first point of contact, and both of these young women just stood out to me. Then I start doing research and the theater experience, but it comes down to an amazing parent, and it seems like that would fit your category.
Well, thank you. Certainly takes an entire family effort. If you have a child that's going to want to go into entertainment, when Lacey made that decision that this is the path that she wanted to take, we all kind of sat down and said, okay, this will mean some sacrifices. This will mean a lot of on the go, not many days off. This is really her first quote unquote day off since well before Thanksgiving. You got us on a great day, but we just made the commitment to say, this is your dream. If this is what you want to do, then we are behind you 100%.
Wow.
But we constantly check in. My husband, David, is a professional entertainer. He is still very passionate about entertaining and what he does. We check in with her probably once a month, maybe sometimes once a week, just depending, just to say, okay, hey, you cool? Is this still what you want to do? The moment that she says that she's done, she can walk away and she can move on to something else. She's not out there doing this for us. She's doing this for her, and she's got big dreams and a big plan. So we're just really excited to be along for the ride.
Well, that's great that she has the parents that are there to support her, because not a lot of children have that. They have dreams, goals, and aspirations, but, there's always the dream killer.
Yeah. No, we are not dream killers. My husband and I are pretty big dreamers ourselves.
Lacey, she's a pretty big Charlotte Hornets fan, I see.
Yeah, so we are a pretty big Charlotte Hornets fan. She's been going to those games since she was 3 months old. We don't go as often anymore, obviously, just because her schedule has gotten a little bit insane. But we were happy. We were super excited to receive the invitation for her to be the Kids Day guest host. And she really had a great time with it. That was a talent that we really didn't know that she had.
Right.
The talented kid, but to be able to get up in front of 15,000 people and memorize your note cards and just go out there like a pro.
Quite impressive. I think the other two co-hosts were pretty impressed because she kind of helped carry it and took the load off them as well.
She did. They were thrilled that she was the one that the Hornets asked to join them. I think she was the youngest by far that they've ever had. She was 12 years old and definitely carried her own weight. She actually had been on set all day Friday into Friday night, all day Saturday filming a short film. We left at 10 o'clock that night to drive home. It was about 3 hours from where we were filming. Got home, got her in bed, and she was back at the arena at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning ready to go.
Well, I just watched that. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. It came off perfect.
She's very comfortable whether she's on a stage, whether she's in front of 15,000 people in an NBA game, but then she also really loves being on film set and working with other actors and taking the direction from the directors and the producers. And she's had great feedback there too.
Well, I think it would be awesome if she could get on a sitcom that's filmed right there in North Carolina.
We're really hoping. There's also a lot in Atlanta, and Atlanta's 3.5 hours. So we make that drive quite a bit. We have family there. It's not a problem for us. They're very generous and have a room that we stay in when we go. So that makes things very nice too, because she can work local. But there's a few big pilot projects. One that's actually filmed right here in Charlotte that we are just keeping fingers and toes, everything crossed that gets picked up, because it will be a spectacular project that she will have a small part of, we hope. So she's had a lot of amazing pilot auditions this year.
Right.
Nothing has come to fruition yet, but she's been considered for things. That's half the battle.
Sounds like she's on her way if she's doing the pilot, because a lot of times you do the pilot, then of course they're going to put someone who's famous. They say, hey, thank you for getting me there. It's almost like doing the stand-in. You do all the hard work, and then the actor comes in and knocks it out in 2 takes while you were there setting it up all day for them.
Right. Well, again, we haven't done one yet. We don't know how that goes. I mean, she really just did her first film a year ago. It has been just a wild roller coaster of a ride. And we've both learned just to film, submit, and forget.
Exactly.
Don't get too tied to anything. Her job as an actor is to audition. And she puts a ton of work into it. She studies the character. She knows the character. She blows us away every time she films something. But there are thousands and thousands of people submitting for these same things. We don't take anything personal. We're like, okay, well, I'm sure that there was somebody else that was great. And then we watch it. We're like, oh, man, she was perfect for that. Kudos, Right.
When the world knows who Lacey Caroline is, they're going to look back and they're going to go, well, she's been busting her hump for 15 years. My son used to date Leighton Meester, and she was very well known in the business behind the scenes, but nobody knew who she was until she got Gossip Girl.
Right.
So tell us about being a parent of a child actor. So if other moms are listening and they're thinking about getting their child into it, what are they getting into?
They are getting into an awesome, emotional, very cool ride. But I think it's something that's important, for parents who are considering getting their child into this. The first and foremost thing I want to make sure of is that it's what the child wants to do. She's not out there living my dream. She's out there living her dream. And we've noticed as we've gone from set to set that there are what you consider those helicopter stage moms and people that, are really in the director's ear or showing pictures. I'm not like that. I let Lacey's work speak for herself. It is my job to not only network for her and work with her agent and just make sure she's working with the right people, ensuring that I'm watching out for her signs. I can see it, like if she's getting tired or if she's getting frustrated, or I know what those red flags are and I can step in and say, hey, can we give her a break for a second? Or I can just look at her and say, okay, you've got 5 auditions. I want you to read through them, and you're at the point now where I think you can make those decisions. She's not going to do background work or any more extra work.
At some point, you can't do that anymore.
So that's one, is to be a support, not hover, not be a helicopter, not hover, but be there to protect and understand. The second is you have got to have an agent that you have a relationship with. I'm on the phone with her agent probably once every other day. I'm texting with her. I'm emailing with her. I'm constantly asking for her advice. She's given us great advice. You just don't realize how much work behind the scenes goes into that. So the agent is absolutely crucial. Third, whoever you surround your child with, your team, quote unquote, has got to be the best. They have to have your child's best interest at heart. I think what a lot of parents don't realize is your actions can get your child blackballed from the industry. They really don't want your input unless they ask for it. And we've seen it happen. No matter how talented their kids are, they're not getting called back, because when you are under the age of 18, it's a package deal. You come with that child, right? Your child can't go on set by themselves.
That's true. If it comes down to 2 people, it's like, who do you want to be? They're both equally talented. Who do you want to be on the set with for 9 to 12 hours?
Exactly.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. So can we talk to Lacey and see what she has to say?
You sure can. All right, here you go.
Hello.
Hi, Lacey. How are you?
Good.
So what made you even want to get into this entertainment business anyway?
Well, I've always loved watching movies, obviously, because, well, I'm a kid. But I've always loved watching movies, and that was kind of me and my dad's thing. When my mom was out of town, we would go see movies, get popcorn and stuff like that. There's a few films that I saw, and I was like, why aren't I up there?
Exactly.
Like, my brain was like, I could be up there. I could be on that screen. Sorry, I'm a little bit congested right now.
That's all right.
But one of the great films that I've always loved, one of them is Legally Blonde. Reese Witherspoon and Kristen Chenoweth are my role models because, one, they're petite, just like me. I am a very short person, but I love that I'm short because I'm able to play younger roles. It helps me with my acting. And it also helps me be the person that I am.
Didn't you recently work with one of those people you just mentioned?
Yes, I did. I just recently worked with Kristen Chenoweth. She was an absolute delight. Like, she treated all us kids like her friends. Like, she would constantly come out from where she was sitting off, like we were on a stage and they were filming on the stage. She would always come out and just ask to bring the chair with her so that she could talk to us. And I thought that was really cool, personally, because I was like, wow, she wants to talk to us.
That's awesome.
As well as Kevin Quinn and Scott Wolf, they were amazing to work with. Scott Wolf had lunch with us every day. Like, he was an amazing guy. And then Kevin Quinn was talking with me and one of my other fellow actors, Keon. He also goes to Northwest. But, like, they would just talk with us. And at that point, I was like, I have just made celebrity friends. Like, that was what I was thinking in my head. I was like, when I got cast, I was like, oh my gosh, I get to be on set with Kristen Chenoweth for 2 weeks. And I've always wanted to see Wicked, so that was another thing.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Like, it was just a surreal moment. Awesome.
And you realize there are people just like you, just like later on, people say, I was on set with Lacey Caroline.
I wish.
It's going to happen. So you started off just doing extra work, and that's kind of how you got into the business? You were just on the set as an extra, and you just kind of watched and saw how a whole movie or a television worked? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I started out as doing short films at North Carolina School of the Arts, which is something I still continuously do because I love their program and everything. My first job was extra work. It was really cool. And then I ended up doing this other film called Terror in the Woods.
That's my next question.
Yeah. That was really cool because I was originally cast as an extra, but then they realized that I looked a lot like the main character. So on their way down, my mom got an email and she was like, Lacey, can you check that email? I think it's from the casting people. I was like, sure. So I picked up the phone and it said, and I read it out loud. It was along the lines of, hi, Miss Sogdill, I would like to let you know that we would like you to still come down this week, but we need to extend your stay because you are now the photo double. We've realized that you look a lot like our main character, so we have now cast you as a photo double instead of just an extra. So that was a fun experience. It was really great.
Photo doubles where you're actually, they dress you up in the same clothes as the character, and then maybe they film you from far away, so you're pretending to be the actual actor. Is that correct? Or
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is correct. They had to put fake blood on me because the girl that was playing the character had fake blood all over her. Like, I don't even know if I got all that fake blood out. It was so much, like, all in my hair. I have never felt so icky in my life. Like, I literally felt like a mass murderer. I was like, ha, 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 ha.
I think I know the answer to this question, but out of acting, singing, dancing, and modeling, what would be the number one?
Acting.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to wait a second so it doesn't seem like I've already had this figured out. Oh, no. Acting.
Hey, tell me about the Good Morning Baltimore. Tell me about that. That's amazing, by the way. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was a project that I did with Bobby Kearns Jr. He films people, he takes some of my friends, and we film and record songs, and then we sing. That was my first singing thing that I've ever done. We just are really good friends now. We've done a few others. We've done Frozen. We've done a Frozen Junior one because at Northwest this past year, we just did Frozen Junior pilot. We were the first school in the country to do Frozen Junior from Disney. So it was pretty cool.
You have a lot of theater credits. I mean, a lot of theater credits. You know, when you're doing filming, you get to cut and you can take. But real acting, I mean, you don't get to say cut and do it. When you're on stage, that's it. It's one take.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you're on stage, especially when the audience gets up and maybe gives you a standing ovation? What does it feel like inside?
Inside, it feels like during the entire show, my happiness feels like a ticking time bomb. Like, you don't ever know what's going to happen. You don't know if somebody's going to break their foot on stage. You don't know if somebody's going to start some drama backstage. You have no clue. I was a character named Luis in Ruthless. It's a really horrid show, but I loved it. And I had this whole number where I had to make fun of somebody. And I was, like, making fun because I got the main part and somebody else didn't. And so, like, this is all character, not me. I'd never do this.
Of course. You would never. Just like you're not a bully, but you play one on TV,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. But after I hit my ending pose after the last note where I just I sounded like nails on chalkboard. Like, it was bad. Like, I had to sound that way. They would stand up and give me a standing ovation, and that little bomb would diffuse. Like, my entire happiness would, like, elevate through the roof. If there was kind of happiness meter on the wall, it would be broken by now. Like, it's
wow.
It's just so fun to be on stage, and, like, sometimes something happens before the show, and you're like, then your emotions are like, why do these people do that? But then all of a sudden you get on stage, you're like, oh, okay, we're all good. With film acting, I love it so much, and that's the career I want to take. I love it so much because it has so many chances, and there's so many outtakes, and there's so many famous, amazing people you can meet. There's so many friends you can make, and the directors that you can take notes from are the best. I just love film acting so much.
Right. And to get to that point of film acting, it starts with the education and training, which you have a ton of from, voice lessons, Broadway Dreams, you have music, acting, and then it goes to theater. And you did Annie, Into the Woods, House of Pooh, Wizard of Oz, Frozen, Mary Poppins, Christmas Carol, Beauty and the Beast. And then you start doing the extra work. You start doing either the stand-in or the photo double. And now you graduated to where you're gonna be the guest star or the star at the age of 13. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, I think with Hallmark and all that, I don't think it hit me until I stepped into base camp. When I got in base camp, I was like, oh my gosh, Kristen Chenoweth could be around that corner walking right next to me. That's what my entire brain was thinking. I was with my co-star, Keon, and the entire time we had to do schooling, so the entire time we were like, oh my gosh, what if she's in the room next door to us? The entire time we were just fangirling, and it was just great.
That's great. So you're 13 right now, and you're going to be 14 this year, is that correct?
No, I'm 12 and turning 13, yeah. Most people think that I'm 9, so the fact that you thought I was 13 to 14, that made me feel great.
You're going to be an official tween this year, is what you're saying.
Yep. My mom's like, oh no.
No, keep her a baby, but you want to grow up now, right?
Yep, I can't wait till I can drive.
Look out, North Carolina.
I don't think the police want me on the road.
So you're only 12 years old now.
In your mind, where do you see the future Lacey when she's 18?
I think that what I'm going to try to do when I'm 18 is finish out high school, or if my acting career does take super flight like a plane, I'll probably be in LA. So LA, New York, anywhere that I can try to get a job. So yeah.
that was my next question. If a sitcom was filming, was it filming in Vancouver or North Carolina or New York, and you had to move to LA, that's obviously something that you would have to do and figure it out, right?
We would definitely do that. Like I said, it's my dream. I love film, but TV acting I've always gravitated to. I've always wanted to be on a TV show because what I always love about theater is that you're with a cast for a few weeks and then it's done. But that cast becomes a family.
That's true.
So, but with a TV show, that cast and that production crew and those techies, all of them become our family too. That's what I love about long projects is that you become a family. And I've always loved family, so.
I have a couple of nieces, and they're in competitive cheerleading, and they travel all over the United States. Isn't that something you did when you were younger?
Yes, I did it for 5 years. That was an exciting experience.
It kind of helps you, I think, performing and being in front of people. It's almost like a little bit of theater. Or tell us about that a little bit.
With competitive cheerleading and or previous dance experience or previous gymnastic experience, it helps with theater and with acting. Let's talk about The Greatest Showman for a second, because with that, they had to have professional acrobats, dancers, and tumblers, and stuff like that. Some of the actors already knew how to do that. Such as Zendaya, she had to work out for months and months just to be able to do that one song scene. So I was like, well, okay, she knows how to do that, and so do I. It helps with your acting career if you have some previous stuff to add onto your resume, tumbling is a feather in my cap, acting, dancing, singing, stuff like that. It's always going to be another thing to add to your resume or another thing to add to your book of talents.
A young person, obviously you're young, but somebody younger than you and they want to do what you do, what advice would you have for them?
My advice is try to not explode at your parents. That may sound bad, but for someone younger, if their parents are just forcing them to do it, you need to talk to someone about that. But my parents aren't doing that, so I'm very, very thankful. My parents are helping me. They're making sure that I'm always happy. My dad checks in with me every day. If I have a bad day at school, he's like, are you okay? Do you want to take a break for a while? And then sometimes I get stressed out about auditions. They're like, do you want to keep doing this? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, yes, I love what I'm doing. I'm just a little bit stressed out right now. What is very important is to respect everyone as well. What I've learned is respect the directors, respect every single person on set, everyone. Because like farther in the grapevine, like you disrespect someone, then it'll go from, I want to cast you in a huge TV show. Let's check with your previous directors. Let's see how you were treated then. If you treated them excellently, they're like, yes, I recommend this person for this role. Like, she's amazing, yada, yada, yada. But if you didn't, that director will be like, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. They were hard to work with. And that's not something that you want to be. And what I've learned I've seen from previous people that I've worked with, that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be that way, because I make it my goal to shake hands with everyone on set and smile with them and ask them how their day was. And that's what I do. I'm like, hi, how are you? How was your day? And if they seem a little sad or stressed out, like, and they're people that I know, I'm like, are you okay? Like, that's just what I do. I'm a nice person, and I want to make sure people are okay.
That's awesome. Well, it seems like, starting off with your cheerleading, starting off with the extra work, doing the photo doubles, doing all the theater and all the short films. I mean, you're doing everything just perfect, and you seem like you're definitely on your way. And so before we wrap it up, I want you to briefly talk about your biggest fan, which is your mom. What do you have to say about her?
I have to say that she's the most supportive parent ever, and as well as my dad. Like, my mom and my dad make a schedule each week saying, okay, who's picking up Lacey to school and taking her to my office to bring her to an audition? Like, we did that 3 times this week. Like, we went from school to cafe to audition. We make it our goal to plan, and that's all her job. Like, that's what she does, and that's what all parents are for. Like, they're supposed to take care of their kids, and that's what my parents do for me. What they have the best of is they have the best tolerance. Tolerance. Like, if I make a certain decision about my identity, about who I am, about what I want to do, they support me unconditionally. And they support me if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm not feeling well, or if I tell them something personal. They support me, and that's what I love about them. Like, that's what I love about both of them. And I think that it's always very important to have them around me, and they do not take their eyes off me. They're always like, where is she? Or they text me, they're like, hey, where'd you go? I can't find you. I'm like, I'm with my friends outside, sitting at a table. They make sure where I am at all times, and they make sure I'm okay, and they are watching like a hawk. What I think is very important is that they see the red flags before I do. They warn me. They're like, hey, I'm going to tell you all this because I think this isn't okay. What our message is to everyone, and especially mine, this may be weird sounding from a 12-year-old, but some people need to wake up and smell the coffee, and they need to realize that parents take care of their kids for a reason, and that parents don't leave their kids on set. They shouldn't, and they should never, because we just need to make sure that everyone's okay, because from past stories and awful stuff that we don't want to get into, my parents have been extremely helpful to me and making sure that I'm okay at all times. And that's what I love about my parents. And I may have gotten a little bit dark there, but I don't care, because people need to be careful, and that's what my parents make sure that I do. So, yeah.
That's awesome, Lacey. Thank you so much for being my very special guest star today, you and your mom. Anything else you or Lacey want to say before we go?
I think that the last thing I want to say is, for parents and kids, support each other. If my mom's going through a hard time, I support her, and I make sure that she tells me what's going on. Even though she doesn't want to tell me, I'm like, I'm going to make you tell me because I want to make sure you're okay. For fellow actors, support each other. I think that with the speculation that actors don't support other actors because they're all competition is bad for people to tell each other, because I have friends that I compete for roles all the time, but do I care about that? No, I care that they're my friends. So I think that support is the most important thing that we can all think about, and I think that support between parents and kids and actors and other actors and parents and other parents is very important. So I think that's the message that we're trying to convey here.
Yeah, I think that too, Johnny. I think also, again, just to kind of circle back, it's so important for parents to really learn and understand and respect the industry and understand how it works, because there's so many moving parts to TV and film, anything you do, and you are 15 minutes late to something. I mean, you have to respect your call times. You have to respect the amount of work that goes into preparation for certain things. Lacey has dyed her hair brown literally the day before we had to go up to New York for an episode because she wanted to keep the role, and we're like, yeah, we'll dye it brown, no problem. Because of that, someone else passed on that we were a great family to work with. And that's really all we want, is to make sure that we understand this industry that our daughter has jumped into, be the biggest supporter, but then also help others along the way and help people understand. If there's ever any questions, we're happy to answer from what limited knowledge, but we've also made a great network of people around that are just as supportive and have successful kids and successful actors and successful projects. That is very important, is to know the industry and surround yourself with just really awesome, talented, protective people.
All right. Well, thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Lacey. I really appreciate it. You guys were awesome. You guys take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Johnny.
So much. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow. Holy moly guacamole. That was a dynamic duo, starting off with Lacey's mom, who's definitely got it going on, followed by bum, 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 sweet Lacey Caroline, who is going nowhere but to the top. Look out, Hollywood.
If you'd like more information on Lacey Caroline, just go to the Internet Movie Database and type in Lacey Caroline, Lacey Caroline, Lacey Caroline. You'll see all her amazing pictures, and you'll see all her amazing demo reels. And another way to find out more information is on Instagram. Just go to I am Lacey Caroline. This is one rising star you don't want to miss. As you may already know, I've had my own small service business for over 30 years. I started it by myself, and when I got married 20 years ago, my wife joined the team, and we've been blessed working part-time with full-time pay. We are going to now pay it forward. We're starting a beta group. If you're interested in starting your own service-type business, send me an email to actors2020podcast@gmail.com. I have a free beta group, and I'm looking for 10 to 12 people. The deadline to apply is April 15th.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm Johnny Keatth, your host, where we promote one actor at a time. If you're an actor and you would love to be promoted, just contact us at actors20podcast@gmail.com. Now we're going to end this episode, like we end every episode, with something called The Lesson. Because life is a... Gee, really? Why don't you tell me something I don't already know? Cause everywhere I go, people tell me what to do. Hey, go to church, go to school, you treat me like a fool. Now, I don't need religion, culture, class. You don't like that fact? Well, you can kiss my... I'm white and I rap. You got a problem with that? Loosen up. And don't be so uptight, take it easy, E. We got the whole night, yes, I'm psyched. I'm ready to get the show on the road. I don't want to stop, cause I just might explode. I'll tell you what, home slice, I'm twice as nice as any bad boy rapper called Vanilla Ice. My lesson, yeah, it's hip. In case you didn't know what I'm here to inform you, I'm better than snow. I don't moonwalk or dunk like these Michael J's, but I can hold my own. You hear what I say? Now listen, learn. Cause here comes the lesson. Lesson 1. Everybody sit down. JK's gonna take you for a ride uptown. Yo, this is the story of the Hollywood game. Choose your path careful, you're the only one to blame. Now when it comes to pot, crack, tweak, or blow, stick to the rules and just say no. Because you're young, you're eager, you want in the movies. Don't think you'll get there by giving up the booty. Cause they'll use you, abuse you, throw you out like trash. And then you'll discover that you're out of cash. Now your heart, your soul is somewhere on the shelf. And you're walking through the streets now talking to yourself. The lesson. Well, you heard lesson 1, it's time for lesson 2. You have a choice, and the choice is up to you. I came to Hollywood to be a rich and famous star, but for now I'm waiting tables and I'm tending someone's bar. Pictures, classes, ages, where the hell does it all end? Every time I turn around, I'm starting over again. I finally got a break with a 5 line and under. My life was starting to roar like lightning and thunder. The phone rings, hello? I'm cast in a pilot. My life's been out of control just like an LA riot. I walked off the set, said to hell with this, all man. The phone's not even ringing and my life is in the can. The lesson. Yeah, final lesson here, of course it's number 3. Now remember, I'm an actor to be or not to be. When the going got tough, I climbed into the bottle. I'm back on my feet now, revving my throttle on the climb to the top. It's the same old games. Now I'm kicking ass and I'm taking some names. Clawing, scraping, screaming, that was a long, hard crawl. But it was all worth it, I'm a box off the straw. Opportunity was there when I took it with a punch. Not now, baby, but let's do lunch. There's a big piece of pie and you should grab your portion. You can be like me, enjoying fame and fortune. Boom! That's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Go and learn it. It's the lesson. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in to Actors 2020 Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Keatth. Until the next episode. Bye-bye.